Iitao'tsstoyi. It is the morning of November 6th, 2014, about halfway through the first winter moon of Iitao'tsstoyi, and out here to do a phenological survey. As you can see, at least 3 of the 4 coots that we saw last week are still here. They're looks like they're feeding on milfoil in the North Pond right now. Probably the 4th member is still around too, but I haven't confirmed that yet. It's about 12 degrees today, a little different than last week. It was a bit colder last week. We did have snow over the weekend, and the snow just melted off the last of it yesterday. But today it's pretty warm, relatively warm, 12 degrees. I'm in shorts. I've just got a thermal long sleeve shirt on, and I feel pretty comfortable. Given the temperatures, I'm just curious, so I'm gonna go check on the rattlesnake den and just see if they're out this late, you know, into November in the full moon of Iitao'tsstoyi. So we're gonna go there first. Just thought I would point this out on the way to the snake den. There's this puddle area where 2 weeks ago we saw so many honeybees stopping by, and I think that they normally do this at this particular puddle area because I've seen it several times before occurring right here. Today there are no bees here, and so that's worth noting phenologically that it seems they're probably in their hive, bedded down. Alright, so that answers this question. I am at the snake den, the rattlesnake den, and there are no snakes out. So they have gone under for the season. Back at North Pond now, and just heading around North Pond now, over to the North Wood area. There's some magpie activity going on over here. I want to see what he's up to, but if I get too close, it's just going to scare him off. Yeah, so as you saw, he was picking around on those branches, and then a man passed by, and just when he passed by, a second magpie came along, seemed to communicate something to the first, and then they've both flown off. I suspect he was picking at aphids or something like that on this tree, so I'm gonna go have a look at those branches and see if I can find whatever it was, whatever little insect or critter or whatever that he's was picking at. Okay, so I'm at the tree, it's the one behind me, and I've been really searching the branches for any sign of an infestation, something like that, that would explain what it was that the magpies were interested in. As I look around, I don't really see any insects on the branches, anything notable that the magpies could have been so interested in. But what I do see a lot of are these gulls. This tree and its branches are just absolutely full of these gulls. Now, I didn't notice before whether the magpie was picking at these gulls. I think these are diplodia gulls, possibly. I'm not exactly sure. But when you pick these gulls apart, what you find is that they do have, let's see if I can get in here, they are harboring different things. Like this is a spider's egg sac that I found under one of them, and you know, I think if you picked apart some of these, you'd find, like this one obviously had a spider's egg sac in it. Oops, sorry, this one, it looks like it's already hatched and everything though, but I bet that you could find some insects and stuff in here by picking these apart. And I just didn't notice whether the magpie was focused on these gulls or not, so that's just really at this point it's just a conjecture that it might have been the gulls that they were or what insects are in the gulls that they were interested in. But certainly that's the unique feature of this tree, because looking at the neighboring tree here, for instance, you don't see any of the diplodia. This one, however, it's just all over the branches. There's diplodia all the way up. I see it. Let's see if I can see those knobs on there. It's all that diplodia stuff. So that's a unique feature of this tree, and maybe it's not a far off guess to suspect that the magpie was pulling something out of that diplodia. I don't know, but that's my guess right now. Couple of insects here. There you go. It's a harvestman spider. Otherwise known as daddy longlegs. It's actually a very, very poisonous spider, but incapable of biting humans. However, if it could, I believe this would be a very poisonous spider bite. And this is a predator spider, basically, that doesn't use a web. It goes around and looks for prey to envenomate. Its long legs are to grab them up from a distance. It's actually a monster of the insect world, but not much of a big deal for humans. Also got a little black spider in here. Where'd he go? Here he is. What? I'm losing him. Yeah, I might have lost him. This is a spider that I don't know I don't know what the species is actually. Yeah, I think he's moved on. But yeah, one of my objectives in this lifetime is to get to know every plant and animal here. Get to know the species name at the very least, for everything that I can see with the naked eye. So when I run across something, usually I try to photograph it if I haven't seen it before, and try to learn who it is. It's just down here at the river. I was actually come down here because I was looking for insects, because a lot of times you have a different kind of a community of insects and stuff on the rocks. I haven't been seeing any today. Well, I can't say that for sure. As I've walked around, I did notice a couple of flies pass by, but they were in flight, so I couldn't identify them. I thought I'd walk down here on the river cobbles, because a lot of times you'll see some insects on the river cobbles. This is a little micro biome, you know, in itself. I'm not really seeing anything on the rocks like this. I did notice though that there's been a beaver here coming to grab willows, sitting at the edge of the river here and chewing the bark off. And it just got me to contemplating on the beavers. You know, you see something like this, where there was a small tree at one point shooting up, small poplar tree or something shooting up. The willows cut it down, and the tree responds by sending out all these new shoots. So where there was once just one branch or two coming out, now there's dozens. And this is part of how the beaver's relationship with things work. Everything that the beaver does seems to promote more life. And in fact, all of these trees of the willow family, these poplar trees and the rabbit willow that grows along the edge here, otherwise known as sandbar willow, the cottonwoods, you know, aspens, all of these kind of trees, when they're disturbed, and even when they're not disturbed, their roots put out a kind of a growth hormone that other plants benefit from. So especially when they're disturbed, like if the beavers come and eat off of them, you know, that promotes growth, new growth not only in that tree, but in all of the surrounding plants. It's a pretty amazing thing. But yeah, just another reminder that everything that the beaver does promotes a lot more life than just its own. And this is the kind of ideal that I have for the potentiality of human beings. We're supposed to be so intelligent. We should be able to figure out how to live our lives and engage with the environment in a way that every act that we're doing actually promotes life, instead of as it is right now, which is basically a rapidly reducing the vitality of our ecosystem. Just now dropped down into the forest main, and as I did, one of the downy woodpeckers made a couple of calls, and then he came over here. He's on the back side of this tree here. Oh, there he goes. There's the call that he was making. Yeah, he's really kind of, I always feel like the downy and the no, he's back that way. Downy and the chickadees, they come to check me out under the auspices of finding food on trees right next to me, but really they're there to look me over and try to figure out what I'm doing there in their territory. So a lot of times, as soon as I enter the forest, they're the first animals I encounter because they notice me coming in, and they come up to check me out. Yeah, I just wanted to revisit this. This is another example of what we were seeing last week when we were looking at these goldenrod gulls. And I did a little bit of internet search to find out again what makes the gall, and it is a goldenrod gall fly that lays its egg on the stem, and the plant reacts by creating this gall around it. But I think what I'm interested in with this particular gall is the way that the woodpeckers have drilled into it and pulled out the fly's larva, no doubt, or whatever other larva could be in there. I know, like I was saying last week, that other insects will sometimes deposit their eggs into these already formed galls. Now, as I was getting ready here to film this, as I was looking at this, I heard an interesting bird sound over here, something I didn't recognize. So I'm hoping to run into something curious over this way, or maybe by the duck blind. We'll see. Don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but there is some kind of grig, maybe a field cricket. I can hear a sound of an insect. I think it's probably field crickets, but can't confirm. Very quiet. I'm just heading down to the duck blind area now, and I'm hoping if there's a heron there that I won't scare it away today. There are some notable absences from the visit last week. I haven't come across any flickers yet today. That's different. And I haven't heard the belted kingfisher today. That's different. Haven't come across the chickadees, though I know they're definitely here. May or may not be less mallards on the water. I haven't really got over to the duck blind to see yet. I'm on my way. I can definitely hear those crickets. Oh no, there's some mallards out here. Alright, I'm going to be quiet and get into the blind. Magpie's carrying something. When you hear that sound, the duck, wah, 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 that's a female mallard. It's only the females that make that sound. Males make more of a sound like wah, wah, wah. There is a female, I believe redhead, out here in the reeds. You can't see her now, or I can't see her now, but she was making a very different sound than the mallards. And I used my binocs to look at her, and I believe it's a female redhead. It's typically kind of light rusty colored, like a female redhead with the white around the eyes, and pretty sure that's what she is, but not 100%. I just saw her briefly as she was moving to hide in the reeds. No heron as I can see today. Not that I've noticed yet anyway. Though quite a few more mallards than last week. Not seen any widgeons show up at the pond yet. Usually there's a group of widgeons that comes in for the migration out and for the migration in. They're one of the first birds in and one of the last birds out. Just come across this on the path, noting that the beavers have clipped some Saskatoon, looks like. And they just left a pile of it on the path for who knows what purpose, but I suspect when come around next week these will be gone. Okay, I've dropped down into the owlwood and am in search of a great horned owl couple. I did, as I came in the woods here, I heard the cricket-like chirps of some waxwings, and I think I'm seeing them now, not far away from me. It's not a whole lot, it's not as big a flocks as what we were seeing last week, but there are some waxwings down in here. I'm curious to see whether the owls have returned yet, because in one other instance at least, at the college where I work, the owl couple that winters there have returned, and they've been there for over a week now. So the ones that are normally stay here, I would expect they should have returned already if they're coming back here. I don't know, so I'm gonna look around a bit, see who I can see. Still no flickers. Alright, maybe I spoke too soon. If you heard that sound behind me, that was a flicker sound. That one, that's a flicker. So, he doesn't want to go unnoticed, I guess. Here's me talking shit about him. Oh, there's the waxwings. They're up above right now, they're just passing by. Got a good look at the breast. of one of them. Definitely bohemian. See if I can get a shot up here at one that I can see up in the treetops. Oh, he's flying, taking off. But yeah, they got the gray breast. So these are our winter waxwings, bohemian waxwings. And we have to look for owls. It's a bald eagle flying past. I'm going to see if I can get him in the frame. There he is. You can see him through the trees, but he's going to go right into the sun. Yeah, it's a mature, like classic looking bald eagle. White head and white tail feathers, tail tips. So that one's confirmed. Last week I thought maybe it was an eagle that I was seeing. It probably was, but that had took off as soon as I got nearby. But this one is definitely an eagle. I noticed that the birds here are, the waxwings are behaving differently than normal. There are some in the trees around me. The difference is that they are they're kind of spread out. Like I'm used to seeing them in clusters, in kind of flocks. And today the ones that I'm seeing here, shoot, trying to get a good angle on some of them. They're spread out and they're keeping on the move in the treetops. They're not making a lot of noise, but there's a bunch of them here, and they just kind of are keeping on the move between these poplar trees. There's a bunch of just above me right now. Oh, there goes some. But yeah, getting in close on one is difficult because they're on the move, like I said. I also see a downy woodpecker, and I saw a flicker. But lots of these waxwings moving around on the tops here. Usually, like typically, and then there's a magpie keeping an eye on me. You know, typically the behavior that I see with the waxwings is that they'll stick in one big group rather than in these little pockets like what I'm seeing today. Or not little pockets, but individuals even. That's what I'm seeing today. Where the heck? There he is. Maybe? No. Trying to get a show you one of these, but they keep flying. They're just moving between treetops. No food for them up there. They are interested in the bullberries that are down below here, and I don't know if my presence is the one that's keeping them from coming down, or whether it's something else, and why they're so spread out instead of grouping together like usual. It's curious. No sight of the owls yet. Alright, so definitely no owls that I could find in the owl wood, but plenty of waxwings behaving a little bit differently up in the treetops. I think because they're the bohemians and they're sticking around for a bit, maybe the whole of the owl wood they are just seeing as one large treetop that they're all in together, and feeding on the bullberries in the floodplain, flood zone below. Anyway, heading around, gonna be soon walking the west length of the pond, and don't know what I'll encounter over here. Back to the beaver lodge again. Sspopiikimi. Their crescent moon is growing really large. That pile. In fact, I think all three of these piles have continued to grow since my last visit, since last week. The food caches and the mound. I think this mound, well, it's a scent mound, but it's also a mound created of the mud that they've trenched up in order to sink as much of this food as they can down below where the ice is going to be, because all that stuff that we see on top of the water now, that's going to be locked out from the beavers for most of the winter due to the ice. But they've sunk a lot of it. These piles go right down to the bottom, and then in spring they've eaten out the bottoms, and so you end up with these kind of flotillas of bulrushes that they've left there. But yeah, the piles are definitely growing, the crescent's growing. I always see this as the sun next to their lodge and the moon and the morning star. I relate this to that Blackfoot Trinity in a sense. The pond, it turns out to be, it's pretty quiet today. Seen a few things, a couple of insects, at least noted that field crickets were still chirping. They must be having kind of their last mating before, and they're going to lay their eggs, but all the grigs, crickets and grasshoppers in them die. So this must be kind of their last warm opportunity. It's pretty warm for the halfway through the first winter moon, but it's not really unusual from what I've seen in the previous years of my studies out here. In fact, a lot of times you'll see even a little bit warmer shots and some more animals. A new confirmation this week was, of course, the bald eagle. I did not hear the kingfisher, but I wouldn't doubt that he's still around. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear him again. What I'm curious about is I haven't seen any yellow rump warblers. I haven't seen any blackbirds at all. Haven't seen any juncos. Usually there's, some of these smaller birds around this time of year before they move south, and then we get an incoming wave of some other smaller birds like redpolls and birds like that. Just looking at this bird out here, I don't know whether this is a coot or I'm betting it's a coot, but it could still be a pie-billed grebe. But kind of strange that he's alone. Oh no, there's another one out in the kind of the distance there. So this must be the grebe or the coots, yeah. Yeah, so noting that for sure the eagle is here, and there'll be lots more coming in. They do, like, we do get eagle nests here in the Old Man River coulees, but still not sure about that bird. Yeah, we do get eagle nests in the Old Man River coulees, but not that many of them. No, that's a coot. So we see a lot more eagles around the river here in the winter. I have during the week I saw a goldeneye. As I was in Calgary, I saw a goldeneye. And what else have I seen? Pretty sure I saw some other winter, snow buntings out on the prairie. I saw some snow buntings as I was driving around. So definitely some of the, and my first rough-legged hawk, they all came in this week. So goldeneye, snow buntings, rough-legged hawk, these are some of the winter birds. So the winter birds are here. Some of the summer birds are gone. I think a lot of the other ones are kind of flocked up and getting ready to leave. The real big migration wave with the waterfowl doesn't occur until the next moon. Might see some of it toward the end of this first moon. So yeah, that's about it for today. I'd like to get a look at a couple of other places. Right now we're looking in the down on the floodplain, what's going on here, but I would like to also look a little bit about what's going on the coulee ridges, and so might get an opportunity for that tomorrow or the next day. Get a little bit of a look at what's going on up there. Yeah, so I think that's it.